Hi and welcome back to my channel. I am super excited about today's video because it's not just going to be me rambling on at you today. I have got two very special guests, my very good friends Kathy and Roz, who everybody knows who Roz is because she's made lots of videos with me, and those of you who are in my members club will have met Kathy, who made an amazing video with me at some point last year, earlier this year.
Yeah, it was cold. I remember it's cold.
It was cold and we were outside. Yeah, so today we are going to talk about neurodivergent friendships. What are the positives? What are the challenges? Is it easier or less easy? Just a bunch of stuff about neurodivergent friendships. So let's start by introducing ourselves and whether we have a diagnosis, if so what any neurodivergent diagnosis, if so what that diagnosis is, and how we all met. Let's start with me. So as you all know, I am obviously Purple Ella, the star of the show, and I have got official diagnosis of autism, ADHD and dyspraxia, and then I will move on to Kathy.
I am Kathy and I don't have an official autism diagnosis, but Ella kind of, lent me towards that way of thinking, and then I have a dyslexia diagnosis as well.
And how did you meet me?
I met you through a Bristol autism charity that we had signed our children up to.
Yeah, so this was ahead of Wonder Girl and your youngest child received it. Your child doesn't yet have a diagnosis, but obviously Wonder Girl does now.
Yeah, and that's how we met. So we had kind of probably an awkward in respect conversation, and then didn't speak to each other for ages, did we?
For several years. I remember really liking you the first time I met you and thinking, oh, I could probably be friends with her. Yeah. And then we just didn't have any, even though I didn't realise at the time, lived like 5 minutes from each other. We didn't actually manage to get it together to hang out until I got Coco and you've already got a dog.
Yes.
And that kind of gave us the impotence of like, let's go out for a dog walk.
Yes.
And we very quickly became really good friends after that, didn't we?
Yeah.
Right, Roz.
Hello. Yeah, I'm Roz and I have an autism diagnosis, which I got just after I finished university. And I met Ella at a post-diagnostic support group here in Bristol. And we met we sat next to each other on the first day and very quickly got on. But I think both of us were a bit nervous about adding another friend to the friend roster. And so didn't admit that we were friends for quite a bit.
Yeah, that's so true.
But like, we'd be like, oh, we want to keep talking more after this group. So, and then one time we're just like, let's just go for a coffee. Let's go for a drink. And then we kind of admitted that, we were friends.
Yeah. Yeah, I remember in the early days of our friendship getting messages from you being like, should we hang out? And me being like, I don't know. Feels like a commitment. I'm not sure. But yeah, in the end I had to give in because Roz is so marvellous. And then I introduced you two, probably at some kind of birthday celebration at some point. I don't know. Do you remember meeting?
It's probably a birthday celebration.
Probably my 40th.
Yeah. And then you just hover about and be here when I came over and go on dog walks.
And then we took the very big and bold step of creating a WhatsApp group for the three of us. Hung out as a group a few times since then. It's been really, really lovely, in my opinion.
Yes.
Yeah. So yeah, I just wanted to ask you, have you historically had difficulty navigating friendship in the past? Let's start with Roz.
Yeah, I remember when I was in junior school, I decided I wanted a best friend but wasn't really sure how to acquire one, so I just chose someone and just would pull them away from their best friend on the playground, and then they'd be like, right, so what we're going to do? And I'd be like, I don't know. What do you do with a best friend? I don't know. And then the school librarian who used to hang out with a lot, who became my best friend, set me up with another girl that didn't have any friends. And that was just really easy because then I didn't have to do anything. And then I just hung out with a group of misfits and that seemed to work. But yeah, I've always been unsure of how to do it,
So you were like, I want this thing, but once I've got it, I'm not sure what to do with it.
Yeah, it's often happened accidentally through other circumstances. yeah, it's only in adulthood that I've become a bit more like, yes, I want you to be my friend, but sometimes I'm still a bit like, I want this person to be my friend, but how do I do it? How do I do it?
Yeah, I can really relate to that. Like, I've definitely gone, what are they interested in? If I can find out what they're interested in, I'll talk to them about that, and then we will be friends. And I'm almost like ahead of myself, like imagining what our friendship will be like and how wonderful it would be when they barely know who I am, which could come across as a little bit stalkerish and creepy, but I like to think that it's a compliment.
Yeah. Planning ahead, you're planning ahead.
Planning ahead, yeah. Identifying potential targets, friends. Friends. So Kathy, this is an interesting one for you, I think, because Kathy is a nurse, which means that you have to deal with people possibly more regularly than we do.
Yes.
Have you had difficulty, and do you feel like your experience as a nurse has helped you to kind of overcome that, or do you still inside find it quite difficult?
I think inside I find it quite difficult, but I've always been someone that sits on the periphery, so I won't necessarily be in a gang, but it'd be the typical thing of gets on well with everyone.
Like a social butterfly?
Social butterfly, yes, definitely. So I'm quite comfortable with flitting in between groups, but yeah, never really being in the thick of it. Hey, Cokes.
Thanks, Coco.
So I think nursing has helped over the years. I've learned how to read people. But that's how to get to know people on a kind of superficial level. But as a child and growing up, I was always kind of on the periphery of any group. I wasn't kind of, in the middle of it, in the midst of it, but I would get along with everyone and just, be on the edges of things. I had two really good friends in senior school, but, they take the mick out of me as well, as much as friends do, I suppose. Yeah. So,
A sort of banter or sort of meanness?
Well, I suppose it might have been banter from their point of view, but I find it quite hurtful. But they were still my friends. It's kind of very awkward to navigate it, isn't it? And then as I've grown older, I've realised that you shouldn't chase after somebody to be their friend. That actually it should be a mutual kind of not making time for someone, but going, I want to fit you and spending time with you in my life. I'm realising there are some people that just aren't going to want to spend that time with you or aren't healthy for you to spend that time with. And then, that can be a bit tricky. So I've learned who I want to spend time with, and it's actually not that many people.
Yeah, I can really relate to that. I think I've always had lots of friends because I am a sociable person. But in the past, I think I was making a lot of compromises to have, from childhood, kind of learning that the only way I could get friends was if I shaped myself to be who I thought they wanted me to be, if I didn't come across as too needy, if I didn't come across as too weird, until ultimately you're basically not even being yourself, so it's not even a real friendship. And it's only really since getting my diagnosis that's changed. And even sort of beyond that, reaching a point, finally, I think thanks to you ladies, without wanting to get too soppy, that actually I am a bit of a pain in the ass sometimes, I'm not going to lie, aren't we all, right?
All of us are.
But you guys have made me feel safe in a way that other friends haven't. This isn't a criticism of other friends, but because you understand what it is to be autistic in a way that other friends haven't been able to do, and that is it's really quite something, actually. It's like, oh, well, I can just be like this person who talks too much and is weird and cries a lot, and you'll still keep coming back for more. Cool.
Yeah.
Yeah, so that sort of moves us on nicely to, since you realised that you were autistic, do you think that's changed your experience of friendship?
I go with yes. And I think it's been a journey the whole time. I think at one point I made a friend's spreadsheet that helped me figure out how, because one of the things that I can struggle with is prioritising people and knowing who, because sometimes it's easier to hang out with someone that you've hung out with more recently. Mm-hmm. And I do that a lot. It's like, oh yeah, I know that that's a safe person, therefore let's hang out with them. And then there's other people that I know deep down are safe people, but I haven't seen them for a while, so I'm like, oh, how do I organise that? And so I made a spreadsheet where I just listed off the people that were my top 10. and was like, well, who haven't I seen in a while? And that was really useful because it meant that I got to see people that I hadn't seen in a while, but were also made me feel safe and comfortable. And I don't have the spreadsheet anymore, but maybe I'll bring it back, you know?
Yeah, I get that, because when you told me about that, I made a similar it wasn't a spreadsheet, because I don't do spreadsheets, but I made a list, didn't I? And I don't have the list anymore either, but it was a useful way of kind of, I think, because we all have, like, acquaintances, don't we, and friends, and I think when you're autistic, distinguishing between those two can be really hard.
Yeah.
So I think having a list of, these are your friends, Ella, like, made me sort of know who to go to for those, like, friendship experiences, I suppose. Yeah. But now I don't have the list, and I definitely do have a thing going on, I think, like you've just described, of it's easier to see people I see all the time than it is to step out there and see someone that I maybe haven't seen for a while.
Yeah, it becomes habitual, doesn't it?
Yeah.
And that person knows what's recently going on, and you know what's recently going on about them, so you'll be thinking, oh, we had a conversation about it, I wonder how that's going. Yeah, so I have to check in with myself regularly to go and check in with the, you know, I don't want to say outer circle, but the circle that you're not coming into contact with all the time. I have to remind myself I must message them, and then I do. And they always say, oh, I'm sorry I haven't messaged you, so busy. So we're all kind of, it's realising that we're all in the midst of what's going on straight in front of us.
Without bashing our non-neurodivergent friends, I thought it would be interesting for us to have a discussion around the difference between being friends with someone who shares the experience of being neurodivergent and being friends with someone who is neurotypical. Do you feel like there's a difference for you in those kinds of relationships? Do you have any neurotypical friends? Let's start there.
I don't know if I do. I probably do.
I mean, I can't think of...
I don't think I do.
But at some point in your life, presumably.
I have neurodivergent acquaintances.
Mm.
You know, that you have to keep up, you know, like going to work and seeing the same people, and, you know, you do know quite a bit about their life, especially when you're working shift work. You know, you end up in each other's pockets, in each other's brains. Yeah, but then if you were going to take that friendship, you know, on a night out, then I would really struggle.
Yeah, I get that. Yeah, I think for me, I do have neurotypical friends. I do. Yeah, I do. And
look at you.
I do. Yeah, I'm just so popular amongst the neurotypicals. You know, I think I really respect and admire and love my neurotypical friends who have taken, because they're only my friends, because they've taken the time to understand that I'm not neurotypical and to try and take that into account in their relationship with me, and that's really considerate and lovely. But they just don't quite get it the same way that neurodivergent people do, in that if something comes up with a neurotypical friend, I would have to explain, this is an issue for me because every time. It's the difference between learning a foreign language and having to always refer to a book and just knowing it inside yourself, I would say.
Yeah.
Do you have neurotypical friends?
So I was just thinking about this, and I was like, I think of my core, like, top friendship people, I think the majority are neurodivergent of some sort, or they're ones that I've known for so long that they know me very well, and so I don't need to do that kind of explaining myself as much to them.
So you've got history.
Yeah. I've got quite a few friends that I've had since childhood or since teenage years, and they know I've always been a bit me, you know?
I think it depends maybe, like you saying that makes me think, does it depend on how, like, because your autism is as challenging for you, I'm sure, to live with as my autism, but might not be as challenging for the people around you to live with. In that, and I could be completely wrong, I'm just exploring this, in that when you struggle, you tend to kind of go underground, disappear, go kind of internally, and I know that you've been working on actually reaching out rather than doing that, but whereas when I struggle, I go, help me, someone help me, and that's potentially more intrusive. Like, I always think, but maybe this is my self-esteem issue, I always think of you as being like this lovely pixie, like just floating around, doing you in your lovely kooky way, and I think of me as being like a belligerent troll, you know, like. But I might just be exploring the fact that I'm not really looking at myself in the right way there, right?
Yeah, I think for sure, because I think...
Yeah.
Do you think?
Yeah, I think you're really being quite mean on yourself. And I think it's good that you can ask for help. That's something I struggle with too. I don't think I internalise as much as you, but I have my moments where I just completely disconnect,
Yeah.
and you can tell I'm not really there. And that sometimes acknowledging that and then reaching out, because actually when you do reach out, if you are like that, quite closed, when you do reach out, the people that you reach out to are so honoured that you've done that. And it's always a problem shared is always halved, isn't it? And just having someone else go, yeah, right, it does a lot for your own self-esteem, doesn't it, and your own what's going on in your head.
So I hadn't really thought about it like that. It's like a compliment that someone would trust you in that situation.
Absolutely, yeah.
Right.
So when you reach out, I feel honoured that you've done that you feel comfortable enough to do that.
Even if I'm being like a belligerent troll.
Yeah, well, that's your image, not mine.
So in short, I think that we can all be friends, neurotypicals and neurodivergents, you know. But I think there's like an extra level of understanding that comes from being also neurodivergent that maybe is the same as like if you're born in the same place or if you grew up with the same parents, or, you know, that any kind of shared understanding kind of like takes away a whole section of needing to explain yourself, really, doesn't it?
Yeah. Yeah, and just going back, I think the kind of retreating from myself, I know that some of my friends have struggled with the fact that I just disappear, and they know that I'm going through difficult things, but they have no idea what to do because I don't even share it. And so they don't know if I've disappeared because I'm busy and fine, or disappeared because I'm busy and not fine, and because I don't like. And it's one of the things that I'm trying to get better at is going, oh hey, I'm not doing fine, and then just having them know is better for me, it's better for them. Yeah, so I always think that you're not a belligerent troll.
Which I think nicely moves us on to, I asked in the Purple People, so I have a YouTube members club that you can join, and we have a Discord group, and sometimes I do ask for suggestions for videos like this. Is there anything people would like to know? And one of the things that a couple of people in the Purple People said was, as we know, people who have ADHD often struggle with a thing called rejection sensitive dysphoria, which is where rejection or criticism feels like a lot worse and a lot more difficult to bear than I understand it does for people who don't have this. Do you guys ever have this, and how do we navigate that within our friendships? I actually came to you recently, didn't I? Roz had gone a little bit quiet because she's just finished a master's in OT, moved halfway across the country, moved in with her partner, I hope you don't mind me sharing that, and then had to go back and graduate, and also done an internship in London, all at the same time.
Very
so
busy.
I knew that Roz was busy, and I knew that she was likely to be a little bit more absent lately, so that went on for a while without me really worrying about it, and it finally reached the point where I was like, but maybe I'm being too confident. Maybe I've gone too far the other way now. Maybe I'm too secure. Maybe I should be analysing this. I was like, maybe she does, like, not want to be. She's phasing me out. Oh my God, she's phasing me out. Well, if she is phasing me out, I need to make sure she's comfortable doing that and that I'm not mad. So I sent her a message about a week and a half ago, saying that, basically. And I think that being able to do that is really helpful, because you came back to me and were like, no, not at all. I've just been really busy and I'd actually like to see more of you. I'm just not doing very well at the executive functioning task of making that happen, right?
Yeah, and then we had a conversation where I was like, if you make plans, like, I'll be there. I just can't make any plans.
Yes.
Yeah.
And then it meant that I got to hang out.
Yeah. So yeah, then we made a plan. And I'm like completely happy. Like, I'd say I am in our group the maker of plans.
Yes, you are the maker of plans.
I love that you said to me recently, and it made me so happy. You were like, I mean, wherever you want to go, I'm down for that. And I was just like, that is such a lovely thing to say.
Because you take time and look for places that you want to go, and because we have so much in common, 9 times out of 10 I'm like, yeah, I'd like to go there. Yeah, let's do it.
So,
or you think about things to do, and I'm like, oh yeah, I want to do that.
Yeah.
And I'm the sort of like, also the like, right, so we'll do it at this time, and you know, like that. I'm a control freak.
So easy.
I'm a control freak, but that's fine because if you've only got one control freak in a group, it can work, can't it? And the thing that I've had to learn, because like I'd really like to make it clear that although I have rejection sensitive dysphoria, it can't all be all about me.
Yes.
All the time, because that wouldn't be reasonable. So the thing that I need to learn is that actually, because I'll even go down the like, oh, why is it always me making plans? And it's like, what do you want, Ella? Do you want to be in control? Or do you not? Like, make a choice. So I'm kind of taking on that my side of dealing with this is that I will be the instigator of plans, and I won't take it personally that that's the role that I fill in this group, where you're the instigator of being able to drive somewhere, and you're the instigator of
video messaging.
Video messaging, yeah.
Video messaging queen.
Yeah, that's true, actually. Yeah, I think because Kathy's dyslexic, I think that's where it originates from, isn't it? And I'm like the queen of the big long lengthy text message. Kathy sends the most amazing video messages. I've actually got them all saved somewhere. I might make a video of them at some point. Yeah. With different like accents and different characters, and they are awesome, aren't they?
I was just thinking this morning, I've slapped a bit on those, haven't I?
Yeah, we haven't had you for a while, because you got quite good at it for a while. There was a flurry of you
I
doing
love to
it.
reply to... I never thought I'd like a video message, and then Kathy did it, and I was like, oh, it's great. Yeah, I could just do this in the morning. I don't need to write anything. I just update you on what I'm doing.
Yeah, it's like a little snippet of the day in the life.
Yeah.
Isn't it?
Yeah.
Yeah.
What I find really amusing about it is that I make videos for a living and I am the worst at it. I think that's why though. I'm like, oh gosh, I can't make another video. I'm sorry, ladies. Yeah. So in conclusion, rejection sensitive dysphoria, you basically need friends who are willing to understand that aspect of your personality and willing to kind of accommodate it, like without it being all about you, kind of not making you feel bad about it, and understanding that it's just a thing, isn't it? So yeah, keep looking. If you've got friends who aren't being understanding about that, keep looking.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah.
Right, okay, I thought it would be good to do some bigging us up, because there's so much talking about where we struggle as neurodivergent people. What strengths do you feel that your neurodivergence gives you as a friend?
I think I have a real understanding of other people's differences. And I have a lot of neurodivergent friends, and have had for a few years, some who have known that they're neurodivergent and some who haven't. And I think because I know that I'm different, and have always, and my family were very accepting of how I was different, and I was like, oh, it's so great if people accept how you're different. So that's what I try and do for other people, is to be like, oh no, it's okay, you turn up as you. If you're tired, you can turn up as tired. Like, you don't need to put on a show, a face. And I've had a few friends tell me how great it is that they know that they can just come and hang out with me, no matter like what they're feeling or what's happening. Because I'm like, yeah, sometimes you do want company, but you don't want to be on.
Yeah, I think that's really true. I think that's something that we all do. I've definitely we have spent quite a few afternoons sat playing video games, like parallel play, I think they call it, don't they?
Is that what it's called?
Yeah, very
it's
little
got
children
an
do it.
official title, and I like that just little children do it, because we are children in here, aren't we?
Yeah, yeah.
I think I suppose it can be viewed as a strength. It is a strength. And something you like is that you always know where you stand with me. There isn't any politeness and yeah, that's fine, but really it's not very. I kind of tell you the way it is.
Like the time that you said, that's really not very interesting, halfway through me telling you something, and I was like, no, she's right, it isn't, I'll stop now.
Yeah. So,
yeah, I mean, I really value your honesty, definitely. It was slightly terrifying at first.
I think it is quite off-putting at first. I think I do scare people initially.
That's not such a bad thing, is it? Because in a way, like, then the people that take it that little bit further know what they're going to get. What was I going to say? You have so many strengths, the two of you, that I just wanted to identify some, really. I think that you're really, like, practical and logical and quite sort of... Like, if I wanted someone to organise something, or I mean, I'm saying that I'm the organiser, but if I wanted someone to get stuff done, I would go to you. I feel like that's a real, maybe that's a nurse thing. You are a doer. Yeah.
It's also what I'm good at. I think with my dyslexia, that's what I've learned is my strength, is I'm very practical.
And you've kind of taught me how to feel like crap and carry on anyway.
Yes. Yeah.
Which is a skill I didn't have before.
Yeah, you just have to override it.
Yeah, because sometimes you just do
until
need
it
to,
becomes
don't you?
okay. Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah. And I mean, you know that I love you, but I can't think of a strength right now. Let me work on that.
That she's easy to be with, easy company. Just gets on with it. You feel like you could just take her anywhere and plonk her in any situation and she'd just swim through it.
Yeah, she's just got this kind of, and I feel like we're talking about you in the third person.
You
then,
are.
but yeah, we are. That's because we are. But you've just got this kind of like, you just have this really wonderful energy that is just really lovely to be around. That is slightly quirky and different to everybody else, but isn't like a belligerent troll.
I always try and retain a sense of chill.
Yeah, I think that's what it is.
Definitely.
Yeah, like I feel like I wouldn't be easily embarrassed in front of you because you're just like, oh, this is happening. Okay.
Yeah. Okay. Let's carry on. She also makes nice cake.
She does make good cake, but also I think you do that swan thing,
Yes, you do.
like where utter chaos. Like there's been times when I've been really struggling with my mental health, and you've sort of by default ended up looking after me, and you have looked completely fine. And I know that you're not fine, and I know that afterwards you've had to go away and process it and get support yourself. But on the surface, you're just like, yes, this is fine, everything's fine, you know.
Yeah.
I think
Just
that's
hold
good
on
skill.
to that. You know, this is all fine. As long as you're fine, it's fine.
Yeah, yeah.
Later I'll cry, but now it's just okay, you know. And if you keep it being okay, you kind of project out that vibe, and then everyone else, even if they're not okay, they'll have something to hold on to where they're like, well, Roz is okay. So, and I've had it at points where I've been in care and like someone else has been there, and you're like, it's always nice to know that someone's there who's okay.
Yeah, the final thing I wanted to say.
Oh,
was,
wait a minute.
Okay.
You know, we've gone through our strengths.
Oh, I'm really good at being a belligerent troll.
I mean, we've talked about one of them, which is, you know, your organisation and your, I think, also thoughtfulness of other people's, like, your accommodation for other people. I don't think it does stop at a point. You know, you think about what me and Kathy might need in a situation when we go and do something and you're making your plans. I also think you're very creative.
I think because I know I can be a bit of a bull at a gate, I have learned, and because it doesn't come naturally to me actually to think about other people, it just doesn't, I'm just in my own little universe. In some ways, when you're not great at something, that means you end up being better at it because you work harder, because you recognise that you need to work harder. And I think the other strength that I have as a neurodivergent in friendship is that I've had so many experiences in my life of being bullied, of going through an eating disorder, of being in a mental hospital. Like, what haven't I done in terms of the bad crap that can happen to you? That means that I can understand. I think I'm good when people have stuff going on because I get it, like what we were talking about earlier.
Yeah.
And that means, and I'm quite good at articulating that I understand it and coming up with ways in which a person might deal with it if that's what they want.
And also helping me understand my quirks. Just like I can say to both of you, do you ever do this? And you both go, oh yeah, all the time. Having that in a friendship is just priceless, isn't it? It gives you that own understanding of yourself.
And you feel seen.
Yes.
You go away and you feel like, when we've hung out together, firstly, I don't ever feel as overloaded when we've hung out. And secondly, yeah, you really feel seen. Like, and even for who you are. Because like, we were in the hot tub in the summer, because we had that lovely morning, didn't we? We made brunch and we went into the hot tub. And I said to you guys, right, because I know that I talk a lot, I said, right, what we're going to do is we're going to take it in turns to pick a topic, and we'll go around the circle trying really hard to make this a situation that was enjoyable for you guys as well as for me. And you were like, do we care? Just talk, it's fine. And like, knowing that you can just interrupt me because I'll just keep going, and I don't have to like constantly be thinking, right, stop talking, start talking. That's kind of an easy thing. So yeah.
And going off what you said about like being good when stuff has been going on, there's a couple of times where you have like gone to me, you've got this going on and maybe you need to do this, and it's something that I've not noticed.
Yes.
And that's really good, because there are some people that just wouldn't say it because they go, oh, I don't want to bring up something difficult. Whereas you'll just be like, look, maybe this isn't a good situation and maybe you need to find a way to get yourself out of it. And I've gone, what? No. Oh yeah.
I used to go around doing that for like everyone that I met. Like I literally would go around.
Not everyone wants that.
Not everyone wants
Don't
it.
Want your advice for some reason and your opinions.
And even if they do, it's a tremendous amount of energy to be putting out, going around like trying to fix everyone's problems.
Yeah.
And some people don't deserve that from you.
No.
Actually.
Yeah. Well, and they're not ready to hear it, are they? No.
No, but I've even had friends who were ready to hear it, but it basically became like free therapy.
Oh, yeah.
And that's not great either. So I kind of do save that for my closest friends now. And I'm also really trying hard to learn to say, do you want me to listen or do you want solutions?
Yes. Yeah.
Because sometimes you do just want to be heard, don't you? And I've been having to talk to Mr. Purple about that because he's like me in that way. About sometimes I just want to moan about something and have you fix it. Right, well I don't know about you, I feel a bit talked out now. But I think like certainly I would be up for doing this kind of sit down and chat with you ladies semi-regularly with what would fit in with your kind of schedules and stuff. So I don't think that this is the last that you'll be seeing of our girl gang. And yes, I'm going to call it the girl gang. And yes, I feel like the Spice Girls. And yes, I feel like we all need nicknames now. So we'll work on those nicknames. I would say girl power, but I'm not a girl. So we'll work on those nicknames and come back. But if there is any particular topic that you would like us to discuss in the future, do leave me a comment in the comment box below suggesting particular topics that you would like to hear from us about. If you have enjoyed this video, do give it a big thumbs up and also consider subscribing to my channel if you fancy, you know, whatever. Additionally, I have like a bunch of ways that you can support me as a creator so that I can keep chatting with my mates in front of a camera in my house for a living. No, that's not what I do, so that I can research and work really hard. Why am I always underselling myself? So if you'd like to support me by joining my club or making a one-off donation, check out my link tree, which is at the top of my channel. And thanks for watching, and shall we do goodbye together? Okay. In a cheesy fashion?
Okay.
Okay, and goodbye! Bye.